Greetings, everyone. Today is January 12th, 2026, and this is the Evan Studios Weekly Podcast. I am your host, Stark, and God damn it, I miss you guys. First of all, I want to say hi to everybody in the chat, everybody listening to us live. To this podcast, well, we already had one podcast this year. Actually, we might have had two. I don't remember when I interviewed Advent from Fleeting Arts, but I think it was still last year, right? So we already had one podcast this year. I have meant to do this podcast on time last Wednesday, but sadly I wasn't able to be around. A veterinary emergency happened, and today I was supposed to do the podcast like I had the idea in my mind to do the podcast like two hours ago, but I also couldn't attend. Things have been pretty chaotic for the start of the year, and turns out they might become even more chaotic very very soon. I will explain all in due time. So first of all, there's always the problem with daylight saving times. I usually say that the podcast is usually on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. GMT, but with daylight saving times, I don't even know if that's true anymore. It's probably going to move either to 7 or to 9, I don't remember. But from next Wednesday on, we should go back to the Wednesdays. And yeah, I think one of the reasons that is making the podcast not be here every week is that there's a few weeks that I have nothing to talk about. And honestly, there's not a lot of questions coming from the chat room or from Discord. Believe it or not, if people actually ask us concrete questions every week, all it will take for us to be around for like an hour, it will be something like 12 questions, maybe not even that. If people ask like 12 good questions about the game and something that we can spend some time talking about, believe it or not, time flies by incredibly fast. Just so you know, Advent and I already have a lot of chemistry talking and discussing these things. So for Advent to answer most of the 15 questions on our interview podcast, because there's a few questions that are like the pattern questions, and I always ask those because I think those are like the core for getting to know a lot about a developer and their games. And then we ask a few other questions that are more like retroactive to, not retroactive, but like it depends on what the devs reply to us. And then if it's interesting, we usually try to elaborate on those. And that's how we end up creating a few more questions. But with Advent, this went by in a breeze, a little over an hour, maybe an hour and a half, if I remember correctly. For Cursed Atelier, last this Friday, on the Friday interview. Given that, granted that there were two people answering most of the questions, but it took over 2 hours, and that was with the standardized 15 questions. Two of them I didn't ask because I didn't think they were relatable, or relevant. But it took 2 hours. So if people interact in Discord or in the chat room, even if it is a little bit, it might extend the podcast a lot longer. But since we don't have those interactions most of the time, there are weeks that I have absolutely nothing to talk about. I can probably just come here and show concept art and be around for 20 minutes. And that is honestly kind of what I want to do, because it's 2026. I want to start making compromises because there's a lot on the table and we've made a lot of promises. We are working on a lot of games. We have a lot of side projects, and honestly, we just want to work. And that's pretty much on what we are going to focus today, is talking where we are across the board on all our projects and kind of explain the compromises that we want to make so that we are able to commit to everything that we have set out to do. The AI based web comics, kind of, so to speak, dojins, AI dojins. I don't know how to refer to those. Our 3 games that we are working on, our podcasts, our interviews. We want to be there for you guys on everything. We don't want to drop none of that. We want to be able to do everything. But first, it's a little bit too taxing if we don't make a compromise. And second, especially when it comes to the podcasts, it might not be easy because either we won't be able to find a dev that is able to do an interview because a lot of people want to keep it in anonymity, and they don't want people to hear their voice online. A lot of people don't feel confident talking online. A lot of people don't speak proper English. So there's a lot of dev friends that I know that I will be incredibly happy to interview. But the problem is there's a barrier, there's a wall that doesn't allow for the interview to happen. And we got to the point where I even asked if it was possible to this was just a wild idea, if it was possible to me just writing the questions, they write them back, and then I get AI to just read their questions out loud and kind of play it and just explain to the people this one is not live, the person is not actually replying to me. But yeah, so we had a lot of ideas, but I have approached so many devs, and the amount of devs that fit all the categories in which they have a mic and they are not afraid of losing anonymity, and they speak English to at least a basic level like me, and they don't have an accent that makes it impossible to understand what they are saying. All of those things combined, or literally just having time, having all of those things combined and actually be willing to do a podcast is not easy at times. But we already have 3 more devs lined up, and I'm going to keep trying to find more devs as we progress with the podcast and whatnot. And we'll see. But sometimes it's really just not possible. I can't make devs appear out of nowhere that are willing to do these things and fit all those categories. So that's kind of it for the developer podcast. I also explained why our Evan Studios weekly podcast sometimes might not. I risk just coming live to talk about nothing, which it will be fine by me. But and then we also want to do the developer podcast. I really want to start that one because that one is the only one where we always have a reason to be around, because I would literally like to start developing a game with you guys, and we will do those on Mondays. I'm just afraid that it might become like too time consuming having all these podcasts, so we might have one in 1 week and another in another week, and kind of do like that when it comes to developer podcast versus me actually developing a game with you guys podcast. But I really want to do that one because I'm pretty sure that if I do that, a lot of you might start not only just creating your own games, but editing other people's games and actually, have a lot of fun. I'm sure it will be serviceable. I'm sure it will be great for the community if someone took their time to actually create a game live with the audience, and I think it will be cool, and you guys will appreciate that a lot in general. So I'm gonna try and start that one hopefully next week, but there's a caveat to this, and I will explain this later towards the end of the podcast. Now let's focus on the things that are interesting. Let's focus on the games. The reason that brought everybody together and brought everyone here. Obviously, the game that is right now the most expected is the first final patch of Bloodlust. So what is happening? Well, last year we did horrible progress on Bloodlust when it came to like the drawings. The CG team fell behind quite a lot. But for the past 10 years, especially when I was working on Flaring Iris, I felt like I was pushing people too hard. At times, it felt like as a director, I was pushing people too hard. I was getting. I wouldn't. I will try not to show this, but I will be disappointed, and I will be. Uh, um, I will be extremely sad if people will not be able to meet the deadlines they promised me, because then I will have to show my face, and I will have to take the hit for the entire team and deal with you guys. And sometimes it's easy. There are people that are very comprehensive and have a lot of empathy for you as a dev. But with the amount of shady devs out there, there's a lot of people that have been burnt in the past, and those people are not as tolerant for failures. And like I've said it a lot of times, and I'm definitely not the only person saying this. People take their anti extremely seriously. So when my team fails with me, I feel that I am failing with you. However, I also don't want to be this like evil overlord that is constantly, cracking the whip. Just I will be like, listen, I will just have to take the loss. Financially, this is horrible for us. Not being stable with results, even though we were able to create the games that we did, and they were, maybe if I was judging other devs, I will be like, okay, so they were able to create Fleeting Irons plus the whole Christmas DLC plus the whole bestiality minigame plus the whole huge Shota patch and whatever. This is like 4 games, with Fleeting Irons being still to this day the biggest RPG Maker game ever, anti-game ever made. And if I was judging another dev, that will probably be enough, but that's not the ruler I use to measure our own stuff. And there's always this limbo where you want to keep pushing your team further, but as a person, like as a developer, you want to push them first. You want to push them further, but as a person, you don't want to be too harsh on them. And I think these all burning the midnight oil practices and whatnot sometimes feel unfair, and I really don't want to be unfair to my team, but I also don't want to be too lenient. So what happened is, in 2025, I was a little hands off, especially because I had my health issues and I wanted to step back, and I was like, okay, let me, whatever they work with, whatever they give me to work with, I will work with that. And I won't be constantly pressuring them. I won't be constantly asking for improvements or asking for deadlines or whatever. And it was kind of like, the studios is already like, it might fail. So right now I need to understand what kind of studio I have. I need to understand who I can count with, if it's worth trying to do this in the future, if people still want to be around and work on this. So I was a little hands off for 2025. And I have to say that at the end of the year, I made I looked at the work that had been done in 2025, and I said that this is unacceptable. The deadline that I believe I created for Christmas, or even a little bit earlier, in my mind was 100% achievable. The absolute deadline for us to release Bloodlust was December 19th. That was it. Honestly, we failed. This is not we adjusted. This is not, no, we failed as a team. So come 2026, hey Morgan, what's up, bro? Sorry, I was saying hi to Morgan in the chat. Morgan is a regular customer. So when 2026 arrived, I had to make an analysis. Am I still going to be hands off, or I'm going to start demanding, certain amount of work out of people? Because you want to be on a midterm, but too hands off and people won't deliver, and if you are too much on them, you kind of start feeling like you're a bad person, even though you're not. You're just, you know, at the end of the day, you're just asking people to actually show results for their work. And me and a few people in our team had a conversation, and we had to do an analysis. Do people still want to be around? And if they do want to be around, are you willing to commit to results and not just delivering certain amounts of work per certain amounts of time that are completely unacceptable and impossible to work to create a game with this amount of work? And needless to say, there was a huge talk about Evan Studios, more in one department than other, because as you guys know, we now have 2 teams. And there was a huge talk, and I needed to understand: are we going to be able to deliver to our fans, or we need to start looking for alternatives? And I have to say that the outcome of that dialogue was very encouraging. And and now it's just wait and see. And now we will have to wait for results. So that's what happened. I'm not gonna be here. You know, we do this live, and we don't do this with edits. Ever since day one, and people know that we do this because we want to be transparent, and we want people to see that, you know, what you see is what you get when it comes to Evan Studios. I feel like that's the approach, even though most professionals will tell me you should edit, you should do this, you should do that. I don't care. I have my own way of doing things, and that's how I've always did things. We failed the December 19 release. We are not going to be here apologizing for it. We are owning our mistake. So I think it was Thursday night we had this discussion, and now we are going to try and commit, and we're not going to try and make up for what we didn't do. It's, you know, for me and my team, the way I see it is like, okay, blank slate. You guys realize and you admit that you were too lenient not too lenient, but you were like your quality and your amount of work was just not enough. It was appalling, actually. It's not appalling to the point where you feel like you guys are working slow. It's appalling to the point where it's impossible to actually release a game with this amount of work. It's not doable. And Evan Studios will never grow like this, and we might just throw the towel in now. So we either you guys change, or we have to make changes. And this is something that hurts me, because I love the people in our team, and I want to keep continuing working with these people for many years to come, and actually deliver the same product to our supporters that we always promised. With that said, expecting to work on Bloodlust on that period in Christmas, I wasn't able to. So what did I do? Well, I started working on Fleeting Iris Remaster. I have to say that we already came a long way with Fleeting Iris Remaster. And we did, I know that I spent a lot of assets creating the IF version of Fleeting Iris, increasing the resolution, making mouse support, doing all these things that people said it was impossible to do in RPG Maker VX8. We decided to drop it. It's even though there's a couple things that I don't enjoy about RPG Maker MV, the reasons to port are far superior than the reasons to stay. Yes, we will leave all the assets behind. Yes, we will leave all the scripts behind. Yes, we will leave all that stuff behind. But I do think that Fleeting Iris can be given like a facelift to the point where it feels like a new game. I feel like Fleeting Iris deserves new drawings for the most part, and luckily when it comes to the busts of the characters, we already had the Fleeting Iris IF experience where we already did a facelift on all the busts. So they are night and day improvements from the original versions from Fleeting Iris. But some plot points. I don't want to change too much on Fleeting Iris where it doesn't actually feel like the same game at all, and people that have enjoyed the first one won't enjoy the remaster at all. But I don't want it to seem like it's the same game with a few more scenes. It's not that. And I never promised it will be that. I never said it will be that. I feel like I, as the original writer, can rewrite significant parts of Fleeting Iris where the game becomes a lot more fluid. Ayame becomes a lot more charismatic, and she looks more innocent than she looks like just dumb or horny. I feel like I am a better writer at this point, so I want to make a few changes to a few routes. They are still going to develop more or less in the same way with more or less the same characters. However, I'm going to make the game, for instance, be a lot more consistent to the point where you can run every single route in one gameplay, in one playthrough. And some of those changes going to start by, for instance, this isn't just me kind of explaining how it goes. There's a few big triggers in Fleeting Iris that state if you choose this, you abandon all of these routes. And the first one is if you deny Melvin and Sato at the same time. If you do that, you abandon the strip club entire scenes, you abandon the hospital entire scenes, you abandon the Melvin entire scenes, you abandon the Sato entire scenes. All of those routes that are directly tied to those routes are abandoned instantly. The second trigger being if you refuse the advances of the Garcias. So if you do that, the swingers, the whole swingers route is also abandoned. A little down the road, you have Robert asking you. So in this, if you do this, you're on your way to the true ending. So the pure pristine Ayame. The third big one, because I consider Melvin and Sato to be kind of like tied up. So with the Garcias being the second, the third one will be Robert asking you to take care of his father. And if Ayame refuses, you are now on the road to the true ending. And if you refuse all those, there you go. What I want to do is add all these routes to the point where you can play them all in a playthrough without having to like reject this and this and this. So Ayame taking care of her father will no longer be her own route if all these other routes fail. And instead it will be if Ayame works, and you kind of have to accept working there, but you will decide which ones you will attend to and which ones you won't. You will have kind of like a morale system, like your morale is too high to actually progress in this route. So unless you abandon specific routes, you are forced to do a few things that, you know, for character consistency, you have to be able to endure a few things to be able to accept other things. So instead of having to refuse a bunch of routes to be able to do the family route, what I'm going to do, for instance, in this specific route is when you do the Sato route to the point where, it's the Melvin route. Once you do the Melvin route to the point where you start looking for a new job at the hospital and you find Scott there, Ayame will become a nurse. And after the third scene, I think I kind of like tried to check where it will fit better, and it's around the third hospital scene. If you progress in the hospital route, then Robert will give you the chance to also have take care of his father, like the same excuse we used in Fleeting Iris, like he busted his back, he needs to stay over for God knows how much of a period of time. And that will be kind of the changes that you will see in Fleeting Iris. It's not a complete rewrite of the whole game mechanics, but it's nudging the game just a little bit to where everything feels a lot more fluid and a lot more professional. Okay, I think that I personally think that those changes will make the game vastly better. Not to mention, the game needs a dialogue uplift. Honestly, it just needs a rework, because some things sound like incredible stiff, and there's probably some grammar errors there and there. Those need to be fleshed out. So just by switching the story a little bit and improving the dialogues, and looking at some of the older scenes that we feel that didn't age the best, because we do understand that the start of Fleeting Iris can be a little rough when it comes to the art, and we have already did some changes, as you guys know. But there's a few other scenes. Let's say a dozen. There's a dozen, a little over a dozen scenes that could use a little bit of an improvement. And obviously, you know, the elephant in the room, we need to animate all the scenes. So those are the changes we want to effectively do to Fleeting Iris Remaster, to where we think it will make the game not just, oh, they just grabbed this product and they are just improving a little bit. No, we want to remaster it to the point where it holds water in 2026. It will be a great game if it came out today. And I think that with just a few adjustments, we can do that. So I already started working on it, and I'm already making the maps, and I'm probably just gonna say this now. Thankfully, we found two new people for the team. One is this amazing gentleman that does coding, and he said it wouldn't mind working on the team for free for now. He will just take the patches for payment, because he will get to play the patches early on, right? And they will get to see all the stuff before everyone else. And obviously it's good for them. It was great for us, and we decided to accept right now. And there's another person that offered to do animations for us, and they showed us some of their work, and we are super excited to work with them as well. And obviously that person, since we already have an animator working in Journey Abroad and Bloodlust, we are going to get that person working on animating all the Fleeting Iris scenes. So those are two great news. And they definitely will boost the speed in which we are able to release games, especially because now with the patch that should be coming out on Bloodlust on February, I'm still like fingers crossed it also comes out in February, because we still need to release Bloodlust any day now. But the thing is, once we are done releasing Bloodlust, there's a new Bloodlust patch that needs to come out at the end of February, without missing the Journey Abroad patch that is coming out at the end of January. And for the Bloodlust patch at the end of February, give me a second. My cat. And for the Bloodlust patch that is coming out at the end of February, or at least, I mean, we hope, but let's hope everything goes well. For the Bloodlust patch that is coming out at the end of February, we already have to have the menus. We have the goal of having the game menus, in the patch. And then later on April, we wanted to have at least the bare bones of the battle system. And those two things obviously require an obscene amount of coding, and obviously having a new person on team willing to code and willing to do the back end for all the stuff that we create is invaluable help. So there is that. And that's pretty much where we stand in terms of where Bloodlust is. I am incredibly excited to release Bloodlust. I honestly can't wait, because I'm even though it's just 5 days of gameplay or whatever it is, I am so proud of what we achieved. And there's such a massive difference between what were our goals or our ambitions for something like Fleeting Iris. Even though in like the scope was very ambitious for Fleeting Iris, the delivery was, this is as good as we can deliver at this point. Even though obviously the scope for Fleeting Iris is ridiculous, but the game itself, in terms of dialogues, in terms of the routes, in terms of we had to work with what we had with what we had at the time. For Bloodlust, our demand for excellence is on a completely different level. When it comes to the maps, when it comes to the songs, when it comes to the dialogues, when it comes to everything, everything is so more just fleshed out. Just the amount of work that we put on every single detail. I wish I could show you guys. I will try to show you guys. Kind of like what I mean. I think I saved the picture for you guys. Give me a second because Edwin is telling me something. Okay. Usually when Edwin tells me something in Discord, it's like you did something, there's something going on with the stream or whatever it is. It's usually very helpful. It's like a red flag when Edwin is messaging me through a podcast. It's like, go check what it is. But he's just asking a question if there will be titties in this update. I will get to that, which is important because a lot of people, you know, you can read this question kind of like, it's F joking, but it's an important question because a lot of people were actually curious if we will have enticings in this patch. And you know, the question is kind of like a yes and a no, but yes, there will be no full penetration, you know, but there will be some over the clothes stuff going on already. Now let me just go find something here that I want to show you guys, but the problem is I will likely have to censor a little bit of what's going on. Yeah, and if I try to find it in Advin's, if I try to find it on Advin's chat, it's impossible because we talk way too much with each other. Let me try and just, okay, it's just this is just for you guys to. Okay, I have the images here. Let me try to see what I can upload here. This is kind of, I won't be able to show the interior. You will have to take my word for it. But this is similar to something that we already pulled off on Journey Abroad. So this is one of the scenes, and this is part of the scene. It's not the entire scene. More happens during the scene, but there's a scene where Eve shows Caesar Landlord masturbating to a video of her, and obviously we actually see what's going on inside the living room, but the amount of detail that goes in some of the stuff here is what we consider. Let me see if we have an image that I can use here. Give me a second. I will actually have to open the game to. Yeah, I think I will have to actually open the project for you. Open the game project to be able to take a screenshot. But my point is, the image that you're seeing, the image that you're watching, the Eve scene, is not just a random background. It's not just, oh, let's just grab like a random door and a random window and a random. It's not what is going on here at all. It's a full-blown, big-sized reflection of the game state, which is something that we didn't use in Fleeting Iris. It's like, oh, this happens in the beach. Let's just get a random beach and just put this there. In when it comes for Journey Abroad, and when it comes to Bloodlust, the reflection of the backgrounds to what the actual game looks in RPG Maker is completely different. It's very scrutinized, and obviously this is, you know, the first patch, and if you look at this picture versus any picture that we have in Fleeting Iris, obviously the difference is astronomical. the amount of details that goes into these scenes. We have even with the details on the lighting, and there's just so much. And this is kind of, well, this is an old version, but this is probably good enough. Let me just use this as a screenshot, so I won't have to take longer. Else I will have to actually find the project where we have it. And I think Isaac is the one that has the latest. So this is kind of rough on what it is. I will actually have to send this to Isaac to. Yeah, and as you guys know, I'm not huge on spoilers because I feel like it detracts from the value from what you get when you play the game. When you're seeing things for the first time, it actually, the impact is kind of bigger. But I just want to show you guys something that, yeah. So this is the map, and in this one you actually do not see the windows. The windows are actually a reflection of where the living room is, because the buildings are done with architecture, with some architecture value in place. So kind of like if you look at the above buildings. So Eve lives on top floor, top right corner, and then the landlord lives on the top right center house, and Eve's romantic partner, so to speak, lives in the top left corner. Okay. The rooms are set up to the point where they are not touching each other because of noise. So where you see the air conditioners, this is a little bit of boring lingo, but if just stick with me for a little bit, the air conditioners explain where the living room will be, and Eve will be peeking through a window in the living room. All of those, the vast majority of these assets were created or edited by us, especially the stairs that you see on the right side. Those stairs were a freaking nightmare to make. I don't want to say days, but possibly days actually getting that with the detail that it has and functioning as it should. Because there will be a scene later down in the game where you actually see those stairs with transparency, and Eve and another character are kind of like doing things behind those stairs or below those stairs. There will be scenes in the shed. I also redone the shed in Photoshop. And obviously the windows have been done, and they are unique on their own. And we are doing grass, and the grass is unique, and everything that we're doing is very unique. And we just feel like all of this uniqueness makes the game feel fresh, and it feels like you're not playing the same game with different characters and whatnot. We actually value all of these differences in all of our games. So this will be an actual reflection of Eve looking through. What am I doing? Okay. Of Eve looking through the window on that house over there on the left of the picture with that door. That's the amount of detail and small detail that we are trying to strive for, where everything sees continuity and everything makes sense. And then obviously there's the details on the way the clothes wrinkle, and the shining of the characters, and all of this has seen many iterations to get to where it is right now. And yes, this is a true reflection of what the windows will look like in game. And then the apartment inside is going to look as it should in the entire scenes. All of these details are going to live off each other and make the game feel a lot more immersive. Obviously here in this map you will see more detailed grass, more detailed shadows, more detailed, at nighttime you will see, it will actually reflect nighttime and whatnot. So there's a lot of work and a lot of effort, like a crazy amount of effort that went into making this game that we simply didn't have a similar amount of scrutiny for Fleeting Hours. That's pretty much it. So yeah, this is the level that we are striving to for when it comes to Bloodlust. We really hope that even though time-wise, as a team, we don't feel like we did as good as we should have done, for the reasons that I explained at the beginning of the podcast. We do feel that, obviously, we feel like in terms of quality and what we are going to deliver, it's still definitely going to be worth the wait. One of the problems is, obviously, the studio is not doing great financially, and it's important for us to be able to release this and advertise it and whatnot. And the first and second releases are the most important, because the first release is going to give people an idea of the core of the game and how the game is going to look like. It's going to set a tone in the narrative. It's going to show how much work people are putting into the game and whatnot. And the second patch will tell how long will they take between patches. So it's important for us that once we hit the floor, we hit the floor running. And that is both true for Bloodlust as it is for Journey Abroad. I'm not as worried about Fleeting Hours Remaster, because it was always supposed to be kind of like... I know there's a lot of people that are going to be invested in that more than other games, because, you know, it's normal. People are just invested in different things. But it's important for us that once we hit the ground, we actually achieve and excel in those two things. Being able to deliver an amazing product, and be able to deliver an amazing product in acceptable intervals. I'm sure 90% of the words that I say are not supposed to sound the way I say it. But yeah, that's the point. The excellence and the quality that we are going for in Bloodlust is nothing like anything that we ever released. Let me see if I can, before I talk about the AI stuff, if there's anything that I can, anything else that I can spoil, you guys with, because we haven't been around for a little bit, and I actually want to. Yeah, well, the problem is a lot of this I can show you because of you know, YouTube maturity. YouTube maturity filters. Like we still need to find out a place where I can actually share more mature stuff with you guys. Let me see if one of the last scenes. I'm pretty sure that this one. Yeah, I mean, I guess I can kind of. Share this with you guys. Let me just go up a little bit. Maybe there's something that doesn't look a little... Come on. Yeah, there's the second part of this this Eve scene. There's going to be a scene... Oh, did I just mess... It doesn't matter. Wait, did he mess it up on OBS as well? It might have. I don't think it did yet. This is the last scene that we are working on. Something happens in Jazz's apartment, and someone does a little bit more than seeing her. And this is the final scene that we are doing and improving and whatnot. And it's basically a scene where Jazz is in her is in her underwear, and for reasons that I will not spoil right now, she's forced to cover herself. So Sigyn said Picarto. Yeah, we had a Picarto subscription, but it cost us like $12 at the time, monthly. And we decided, okay, we are not working on this yet, so let's leave it for later. But yeah, I'm probably just going to recreate another Picarto account and So the problem is that I want to achieve the most amount of fans that we can. That's why we use YouTube. But streaming on Picarto and then uploading it to YouTube with some changes on the images or like censored images will probably be something to consider. But that will mean that the YouTube version will be a version with edits, like a VOD with edits. And yeah, we actually want people to interact with us. So maybe a lot of people don't have a Picarto account or are not interested in going to Picarto to actually see us develop stuff. So we might have, what we might do is like have like a sequel podcast where we do the main podcast here, and then we do like a follow up on Picarto to spoil you guys with a few things. Which that's probably going to be the way we are going to go about it. Morgan said, we need more Eve content. I need more Eve content in my veins. Do you already have planned who is getting scenes first on the second version? Yeah, I do. And it's because it just makes sense. The only funny enough, might be a spoiler, might not, if you guys have been paying attention. But the first person who is actually going to have intercourse in Bloodlust is Ayame. She's the first person you will catch having intercourse in Bloodlust. And that's all I'm gonna say, because it was one way to cut corners, because we had a few scenes that were already high quality, and we're just going to port them to Bloodlust and rewrite them a little bit, and it's going to tie in with one of Eve's routes later down the road. Other than that, obviously there are characters. Greed sickens me. Greed. Who's her? Obviously the characters that are closer to Eve are going to have the initial scenes. Obviously the janitor. Obviously, I think the first big one will probably be the school principal. Also, Eve's romantic partner is going to be there, but we won't waste any drawings with him. There might be implied moments between him and Eve, but we don't want to waste like drawing time on a romantic partner unless it has impact on a scene down the road. So we still yeah, I got it after Sigyn explained. I was like, oh, obviously Ayami is greedy because she's gonna take the first scene in this game. I felt like it especially for people that played Fleeting Iris, it's kind of like a pass off the torch. It's how I saw that scene. It felt like a pass off the torch. There will be a scene in so I don't know if you guys want me to spoil it, but if you don't, skip the next 30 seconds. I'm going to try and sum it up in 30 seconds. There's going to be a scene where Eve is going back home from work, and she takes the subway, and then you can take a specific subway, and if you take a specific subway, you will be able to see some stuff happening to Ayame. And then you will be able to either interact with it directly or watch from afar. Both will have consequences. End of resume. So obviously the characters that are closer to both professionally and emotionally closer to the characters, So for Eve is going to be the principal, the janitor, her love interest, which also works in the school, the gym teacher who was someone from Eve's past and whatnot. So there will be a cool dynamic over there, especially because Eve is trying not to get her disguise blown, because obviously Eve is not playing as Eve. But all of this is going to be explained in the first patch. And obviously for Jazz is going to be the roommates both the guy and the girl. There's kind of like a bully at the school slash the drug dealer that she will be interacting with early on. So things are going to start on her closer circle, and I feel like it's kind of like when it comes to Entai, the way I see it is that the more characters that you present, you gotta go with like concentric circles. First, your closer, tight knit circle, and then you expand to the people just outside that circle, and then you expand to foreigns and free roams and whatnot. And you focus most of the scenes on the inner circles, and then you expand outwards. And then obviously you gotta listen to the community and see which routes the community appreciates the most. For Fleeting Iris, obviously it was Melvin route. But once we started doing the beach, we were kind of like, okay, is this a hit or a miss? Do people want more scenes or less scenes? And obviously there were a few crowd favorites when it came to scenes and routes, and some of them we developed a lot, and some of them we hoped to develop a lot, and we actually ended up not doing so. As for like a Jack route where Jack actually wins, or where it feels like it wins, or a lot of people obviously want to see the continuation of Armand's route, which for obvious reasons we will only be able to release on Subscribestar, and people that were paying attention to the game actually know why. Wait, Vincent asks, can you promise that Bloodlust first patch will come out at the end of February, or will you keep saying very soon for several months like you've been doing? Because I feel like we've been in this loop since 2024. I already answered that question, and the first patch of Bloodlust will not come out in February. It will come out any day now. That's not what I said. The second patch of Bloodlust is supposed to come out at the end of February. And I also explained why the very soon for several months. We have been working on Journey Abroad most of the time, and the only time where I actually took like a break from developing was when I started having health issues. That had nothing to do with saying very soon. I was literally saying I am not working in the game right now. But yeah, if you listen to the podcast again, you probably just you arrive halfway or something like that. But I already explained what will be what is the tentative goal for release dates, and Bloodlust should be coming out every day now. Like, I'm kind of hoping it might come out this week. At this point, I will be saying no, for certainly it's this week. But I can't. My problem with deadlines is that I can't keep giving deadlines for things that are not in my power to decide. So, you know. And as for Bloodlust, I always say that Bloodlust will be the one that will take more time to release, because it was the same team that was working on Fleeting Iris. So how could have they been working on it since 2024 when they were still working on Fleeting Iris back then? They were still making busts. Journey Abroad is the one that we were promising to release earlier on, and we already released like 3 improved versions of it. For like, I think for like a month straight, we were doing weekly releases of Journey Abroad. Of Journey Abroad. So yeah, we're for 2026. I already explained what happened in 2025, and in 2026 we're going to try and stick to the schedules that we said, which is the alternating months. And if we can't, something needs to be done. And once and if that happens, we will adjust accordingly. And if the circle is still alive by then, we will make adjustments. So yeah, that's it. I think that's the best answer that I have for you right now. I'll do everything in my power to make sure that everybody delivers on time, and we are able to stick with that schedule. As for Journey Abroad, as you guys probably know, we are working on the second patch. We are hoping to release the second patch somewhere late in January, I can probably check what's going to be our tentative release date. Yeah, probably January 30 is where we would like to release it. Um, and now I'm going to talk about the. Now I'm going to talk about the AI stuff, and then I'm going to talk about the good news, bad news, and then I'm probably just going to finish the podcast. As for the AI stuff, we are still working. We are finding better modules and better programs and finding ways to actually improve the results of our creations. And we are still making busts and trying to figure out how to get the characters to look the most like our intellectual property. Because we have characters that kind of look like our characters, but not really. So we did mention that we might go with like this character represents this character and this character represents this character, and they're very, very close, but they are not like, oh, that's clearly this character. I mean, obviously we want to get as close as possible, but neither we have incredible processing power, VRAM, for making this, but also we don't have experience. We're learning from scratch and we're trying to do stuff. And like I explained, we took a break from trying to create our AI characters. We took a break to try and learn how to make animations with AI, which thankfully we were allowed to stop and actually focus on just making the scenes again, because we found someone that does animations for us, and yeah, there's that. So for the AI stuff, I honestly still can't predict when will stuff be coming out, but my goal is once we reach the base for, okay, now we can use this to actually work in scenes, I am able to release like a full manga per month, because there's a computer that is literally just working on that. We're just making it render and render and render. All I have to do for that one is kind of like write a plot, kind of like decide in which positions we're going to place the characters, and I feel like I can reasonably release one of those a month, like a completely new story every month, easily. Like, and I'm doing this huge assessment on it because I literally know how long it takes to generate like 300 images and go like, okay, let me pick the best one, the one that fits the best out of these 300. And it will take us like a week and a half tops to actually get all the images that we need in the positions that we need, and then it will take me like 2 or 3 days to write the entire manga, all the dialogues, all the story and whatnot, and then just editing it in Photoshop. It's like 3 weeks tops. So saying that we can release every month at the same time is very likely close to what's going to happen. And considering that the only people that are working on that is Isaac and I, since there's not a lot of noise in the development process, it's literally just 2 people, and I know how fast and how fast he works. It's very likely one manga, so to speak, or one doujin every month, easily. And now for the bad news. Everything that I said that we were planning to do this from now on as a small caveat, and that caveat is, so Isaac's grandfather, who is, it basically he was his father for most of his life. Isaac's father wasn't very present, and his mother's father is the one who was in his life. So the Mister, who is on a very advanced age, but that doesn't matter because he was incredibly healthy. Like a year ago, I actually went and visited him. He has developed cancer in a very advanced stage and is at this moment in the hospital, and is basically on life support, and he might perish any day. And when that happens, I'm obviously going to give Isaac a few days off. And considering that Isaac is one of my best friends, I'm probably going to move to. I'm probably going to go with him to his hometown, because it was also my parents' hometown. I have family there. My sister is there, and we're going to spend 2 or 3 days in there. Just helping him take care of all of the legal stuff, being there for him for the funeral and all that stuff. The prognostics are not very good. They say that literally is on a day to day. They, it's really really bad. And when that happens, I'm probably just going to be away for 2 or 3 days. So, like I said, we do plan to release Bloodlust at the end of somewhere in this week. But if that happens, it's going to be somewhere next week. But that's literally what I see as worst case scenario, is that we are not able to, if the scene is delivered on Thursday, and for whatever reason we are not here, we will probably deliver it on Monday or Tuesday. But Bloodlust first version is going to come out very very soon, and we do plan to release the second version by the end of February. That does not change at all. It's only the small caveat. That's why I don't say no Friday for absolutely sure. I might not be here Friday. That's it. That's the bad news. That's the extent of bad news. Everything else, as for the delays or what happened and whatnot, there you go, guys. This is what happened in 2025. This is what we have planned for 2026. I hope that you guys that didn't listen to the entire podcast go back to the beginning, see what are our plans. And like I said, if you guys have questions, if you guys have anything that I can answer later next week, so we can actually do weekly podcasts, because I know these are important for you guys. You guys want me to be around and talk to you guys and share stuff with you guys, not just because you love the game, but because some people actually came to actually love the podcast, just like we do, and we really love talking to you guys. And I know that a small podcast sometimes is better when it doesn't have a billion people. Right now we have 10 concurrent viewers. We had 26 over the course of the podcast, and I know it's better to feel like you're being heard and that you can speak in the chat and you belong, and you can ask questions, and the voice on the other side will talk to you. And obviously it's always good to talk about things that you're passionate about. And I know that sometimes when the criticism comes, it doesn't come from a bad place. It comes from a passionate place, and I don't take it personal. I understand where you guys are coming from. All I can say is, truth, thick or thin, we never took you guys for granted, and I promise you that we are trying our best. We really love, and we still love so much more than we did probably on the first day, working on these games. And we honestly hope that we can deliver some products that you guys absolutely love very, very, very soon, and then on small intervals. I really hope that it's not because I'm being lazy, or it's not because I'm trying to milk this or that or whatever. It's not like that. I really want to turn the page to where we are in terms of release speed at the level of the quality of our releases. And 2026 is here. I'm counting on you guys for us to be able to release this and make Evan Studios what Evan Studios has deserved to be for a long time now, because I honestly feel like we release a really, really high quality product. And I can't wait to release everything that is, right now all just files in my computer and in notepads and in, just drafts and stuff like that. I really hope you guys get to play everything that I have in my mind very, very, very soon. Well, this was a weird Monday night 10 p.m. podcast, but I'm glad that you guys showed up. Obviously, a few of you are American, so it's still kind of early for you. But it was different. I appreciated it, and I hope you guys understand what we went through, and what everything that I said in this podcast, man, I'm just honestly, I'm just trying to be honest and trying to be transparent. Whatever we failed in, I'm not gonna say we're humans, we're sorry. Like, I take it all. It's my team, and it's my fault. Everything that happens. I honestly hope that you guys, I honestly hope you guys forgive us every time we failed, and I still hope that you guys are excited for everything we are yet to deliver. Um, I'm really excited for you guys to try these games. I fell in love for Bloodlust and Journey Abroad just as much as I fell in love for Fleeting Hours. And obviously, even though there's usually not a lot of feedback, sometimes feedback is silent. And I understand that you guys showing up every week to the podcast and you guys still sticking around in Discord and whatnot. Sometimes that's all the approval we need. Sure, all the criticism is good because then we can adjust. This scene was boring. This scene was too long. This scene was too short. We don't like the way this character did this or whatever. All of those things are incredibly valid because they help us create a better game. But just sticking around and being supportive sometimes is all the feedback that we need. I hope you guys appreciated this podcast. The next time I come back, it's probably going to be with Bloodlust. So yeah, I'll see you guys then. Thank you guys for showing up. Next week I'm going to try and have a podcast, especially if I release Bloodlust, because then there will be a lot to talk about. And as for the rest of the content, just interact with us in Discord. Just tell us what you're most excited for and if you have questions about it. And we are going to keep trying really hard to release the stuff that we haven't released yet, and stick to our schedules and our tentative dates. So yeah, that's it. Thank you once again for showing up. I hope you guys are excited because Friday, unless something drastic happens, we will have another dev interview, this time with Yummy Tiger, a longtime friend of mine working on a game that gathered a huge amount of followers for a while, and then because of reasons, it's taking a lot of time in development now. But Yummy still deserves all the attention that the game is amazing, and it still deserves a chance to actually do right by all the work that it put into it. I appreciate you guys so much, so much. You guys have no idea. And listen, I'll tell you guys what I tell Morgan, because he's one of our most active users. When you guys go hard on me on Discord and ask all the questions and whatnot, I don't see it as pestering. I know you guys doing it from a good place, so don't worry about it. Just go and bother me, go and pester me. Just participate in the community. We have a very arms open, welcoming community. So do come in our Discord, chat with everybody. Everybody's very respectful, and if they're not, just tell me. As usual, I wish you all much fortune, much love, and much health. Maybe not in that order, but usually those are the three pillars of everything going well in life. And I'll see you guys very, very soon. Much love, guys. Peace out.
Shiro ni na